for your benefit. Anything that is even a toothbrush is a resource for you because it is helping you to brush your teeth. A piece of soap with which you wash your cloth or you take a bath, even those soaps are also useful for you. So they are all resources, and resources can be classified mainly into two types. One is the in the natural resources, especially one is the natural resources, and the one is the artificial resources. And natural resources are those resources which you get from the nature, like your fuel, coal. Brother, you switch off your camera. I won't mind. The coal, the gases that we get from underneath the seabed, and the petroleum, and there are so many other things.
So the food.
The wood from the forests, the timber, the plants, the fruits, the vegetables, the soil, the cement, not the cement, the soil, and other things that we get, the limestone. So all these things are your natural resources. And what are the artificial resources? Artificial resources are the resources that are made by human beings, like electricity. We use that water resource to convert it into electric energy. The the
Fire.
whatever you see, whatever you see around you, fire, whatever is you around you, that has been produced by human being. The pot of rice that has been cooked by your mother,
The fan.
that becomes a the khichdi becomes a artificial resource. First of all, it is an definitely natural resource, but it becomes an artificial resource when she puts masala and all, because it is prepared for you. The mobile phone, the television set, the automobiles, the cloth you are wearing, everything is somehow or the other you get those things. Some elements are dependent on the natural resources, and ultimately they are given the artificial form. So natural resources are classified into different groups depending upon the level of development and use, origin, stock, and distribution. So what are the different level of use that you had? What are the different level of development, the use, the origin, stock, uh, all these things, those distribution. Based on that, we are classifying the resources into various types. On the basis of the development and uses, resources can be classified into two groups. What are these two groups? The actual resources and the potential resources. What are the actual resources? They are those resources whose quantity is known. We already know the quantity of those. These resources are being used in the present. The rich deposits of coal in Ruhr region of Germany and the petroleum in the West Asia, the dark soils of the Deccan Plateau in Maharashtra are the actual resources. What is the estimated amount of thorium that you can get from the sand of, say, Kerala? Or what is the estimated amount of coal that is left in the Gondwana plateau of Chotanagpur plateau of India? That can be estimated. That is actually the quantity, the actual quantity. We are said that we have petrol for another 20 years. So those are the reserves, oil reserves, that is already estimated through mathematical calculations. This much of oil deposits are there in West Asia, in Saudi Arabia, Middle East, and all those Gulf countries. So that is an something that is measurable, something that has a quantity that can be quantified, whose quantity is known, is the actual resource. And what are the potential resources? All those whose entire quantity may not be known, and these are not being used at present. These resources could be used in the future. They are present, but they have not been quantified. They have not been much used. They might be used in the future. The level of technology we have present may not be advanced enough to easily utilize this resource. At present, we do not have that much of technology to know that. The uranium found in Ladakh is an example of potential resource that could be used in the future. So it has not been properly quantified. High speed winds were a potential resource 200 years ago. Today, they are an actual resource. So 200 years ago, even in India, 70 years ago, we never thought of generating electricity or power from wind. The reason is we thought that it is not our cup of tea. In Netherlands, in Holland, they have been using it for many years. The many flour mills and textile mills, they run on windmills. That means all the necessary work, and if there is a famous English literature book known as Don Quixote. That book is based on those, on the Netherlands, on Holland, where the knight goes from one windmill to other. There are lots of windmills are there, but you don't find all those things. You've never had those things in India, but today we have the Suzlon power. You have other big companies who are investing, foreign companies who are coming now to invest into this sort of investments. So these something, tide means, the tides that comes in the oceans, in the seas. They also carry energy with them. So research are going on to make those tidal energy into use. Solar energy has already been actuated. It has been. It is already in use. So you will find some in Nagarkoil, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat coast. You can find in many parts of India. Based on their origin, resources can be abiotic or biotic. Abiotic means something that is derived from living organisms, either plants or animals. Biotic means something that is derived from bio species, that is either plants or animals. And abiotic means non-biological, something that is not derived from biological entity. Abiotic resources are non-living, whereas biotic resources are living. Soils, rocks, and minerals are abiotic. Soils, rocks, sands, they are all abiotic. But plants, trees, animals, they are all biotic resources. The livestock resources, the cattle, the sheep, the cow, the goat, the poultry, the hens, the ducks. So all these, they are also resources for you. They are livestock resources. So they are biotic resources for you. The trees, the forests, the plants, the tulsi that you might be having at the window, or maybe at the corner of your veranda, that your parents might be putting water and doing some puja. Even those leaves are sometimes used by your family members to cure cough and cold. That is a resource, and that is a biotic resource. I'm just giving you an example. The fish you buy from the market, the chicken you buy from the market, the egg you buy from the market, the vegetables, the fruits that you, they are all biotic resources. But the plastic chair that you buy from the market is a biotic resource. The coals that you get for your home, for the chimney, is a biotic resource. The petroleum that you pour inside your automobile, inside your vehicle, is a biotic resource, because they're all non-living. So, but you know how coal is produced? Coal is produced again from biotic resource. When all these plants, plant materials, all the trees and plants of the Jurassic era and Cretaceous period, when they were all, uh, went underground, and after many billions of years under pressure of the earth, they turned into coal, heat and pressure. And that coal turns into diamond. And petroleum are animal resources. What are animal resources? Petroleum are animal resources which, like the dinosaurs and all the Jurassic big reptiles, 20-foot reptile, 18-foot reptiles that were roaming all around the earth, when they died, their fat and their materials, fat material mainly, they petrified and they became petrol. Petrification led to petrol. So, anyways, this is just to let you know how the origin happened. But based on the feature, you can say that biotic resources are from the living organisms, abiotic resources are from the non-living organisms. Is it clear to all of you? Any doubt till now in this chapter, students?
No, sir, no doubts.
Based on their origin, resources can be abiotic or biotic. Abiotic resources are non-living, while biotic resources are living. Soils, rocks, and minerals are abiotic, but plants and animals are biotic resources. Natural resources can be broadly categorized into renewable and non-renewable resources. Again, one that you can use, renew का मतलब क्या होता है? The renew means, suppose we have a membership with a club. So whenever that membership comes to an end, we go for annual renewal. That is, we can again become a member of that club by paying some money, isn't it? Or we renew every year we renew something, our insurance, car insurance, or you say the vehicle insurance, whatever you have, you renew it every year. Suppose you renew it every month in the month of July. So every month in the month of July, you have to renew it. So this is all something that you can do it again and again. So renewable resources means any resource that you can use again and again. And what are non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources are those resources which once you use, khatam, you can never use it once again. It goes for a permanent change. It is not a temporary change. It's a permanent change. Once you take it out, it's gone. It will not come back to you. So that way, renewable, and this is very important in today's world, renewable resource and non-renewable resource. I tell you, we are using the coal, the petroleum, and all these things, fossil fuels. They are actually fossils. Fossils ka matlab, I told you just now, that the plants and trees which got underneath the soil and the rocks and the earth's crust, which under heat and pressure they turned into coal. and the animals which went inside, billions of years back, they turned into petrol. But that resource is limited. The amount of petrol that you are using up today, that much amount of petrol is not going to come back, or that much amount of coal is not going to come up, because it is not going to happen. Once you take it off, means it's gone. It is not. It's just like a treasure. Once you use it up, means gone. It's no more with you. धुएं के साथ उड़ जाती है. The liquid petroleum gas that you have, that is obtained from the LPG, that is obtained from the petrol. Once you use the cooking gas, does the cooking gas get filled up again? No. The cooking gas doesn't get filled up again. You have to again send an SMS, and the cooking gas will get, they'll send you another cylinder. So, all these things that you are having, it is a non-renewable resource. And what a renewable resource?
Sir, like trees.
Wind. Wind is a renewable resource. Solar.
We can
solar
grow
energy.
trees.
Huh?
We can grow trees again and again.
You can put trees. Trees, definitely wood, forest, plantations. Plantation is a renewable resource. Teakwood. People in the forest department, every year they go for a tender where there is a tender, and there is an auction for these timbers. The timber merchants, they buy those timber. Timbers are used for making railway coaches. They're used for making furniture. There are n number of uses for timbers, for houses, buildings, and all these things. But at the same time, the forest department sees that as much number of trees that they have cut down, that much number of trees are again sowed, so that in another few years, again a timber forest will come up. So there are renewable resources. Wind आप use कर लियो, wind energy को use कर लियो, तो wind खत्म हो जाएगा? It will not happen. The oxygen that we are taking in from the air.
Sir, water.
Water. Wonderful thing, water. Time is a non-renewable resource.
How?
Time is a non-renewable resource.
It is coming again and again.
No.
एक बार चला जाता है, फिर कभी नहीं आता लौट.
Time and tide waits for none. Once it is gone, it is the most important resource, and it is non-renewable. Once your time is gone, the history class that we had yesterday, for example, it is not going to come back. Either you have to go back to the time machine and go, but that has not yet been discovered. Once it is done, it is done. Time, that is why what happens, the people say don't waste your time. Why they say don't? Because time is the most important resource. It is never going to come. It is burning. Time is always burning, Time is always burning. And it should always, you won't get back the time that you are wasting. Time is a big resource. Anyways, but shortage and renewable resources are those which get renewed or replenished. Replenished, the word replenished means anything that can grow again. Suppose we say the muscles get replenished. That means there is a muscle tear in your body, and after some time it grows all of a sudden. That is replenish. So anything that gets refilled automatically. So renewable resources are those which get renewed or replenished quickly. Some of these are unlimited and are not affected by human activities, such as solar and wind energy. I told you, solar energy. People are nowadays using solar energy, and I am telling you the day is not far when you won't be having LPG gases at your home. You'll be having all the solar panels at the roof of every society, At the roof of every house, every bungalow, every home, they'll be having some sort of, and that solar energy shall be trapped for using the, electrifying and using it for power. And it is a renewable. How much of solar energy is, being sent to Earth every day? I think million megatons of energy are there, and we do not use. We just, the greatest source of energy is sun, and we don't use its energy. That is the most foolish thing that the scientists could ever do. And we are too late in realizing that solar energy can be used into multiple resources. More so, solar energy is having, or wind energy, or the high electric water energy, it is non-polluted. It doesn't cause any pollution. If you burn the fossil fuels, if you are running your scooter or car, you're driving it, the exhaust is the carbon dioxide, the carbon monoxide, and the sulfur dioxide, which gets accumulated in the atmosphere. It is bad, it's a pollution. But sun energy, solar energy has no pollution. The wind energy, the water energy has no pollution. That can be used, it can be utilized. So, solar energy and wind energy are never affected by human activities. Some of this energy are unlimited and are not affected by human activities, such as the solar and the wind energy. Yet, careless use of certain renewable resources like water, soil, and forest can affect their stock. Now, we say, wow, there is enough of water, so we will be using water, and we start shaving our cells, and we keep the tap open. We keep on brushing and we keep the tap open. What fun we get out of it, we do not know. Use the tap when you need it. The boy who comes to your home, the maid, to wash the dishes, utensils, she keeps the tap open and starts washing the utensils. What fun it out of it? Because each drop of water counts. The reservoir of the fresh water, I am talking about the human utilizable water, is very less. If you talk about the water means many things. Can you use the seawater for human habitations? Not at all. You cannot even drink a spoon of seawater. It's so salty. So either you have to desalinate it, like the Gulf countries, but they have enough money. They can desalinate it. Desalinate means remove the salt portion and use it for their own purpose, for drinking, washing clothes, and all this, bathing, and all those things.
Sir,
Tell me, Gaurav.
there is a Gulf country. There, first there was very less water in Gulf country, so they tried to make water fresh of ocean, and then now they have large amount of water.
Yes, that's true. You see, Israel is also near the Gulf country. It is also in Middle East. The amount of water they use is not even 10% of the water that we use for our irrigation. And they use all sorts of techniques. With little water, they irrigate 100% irrigation, and they are nowadays exporting food crops. Not only growing food crops for their own selves, they're also exporting food crops to other countries. So excess. That means they are utilizing it very intelligently. You are right, Gaurav. In fact, those Middle East countries, that was totally dry. But they've utilized that, but they have enough money. They could desalinate the water. So do not waste water. Each drop of water counts, because the amount of fresh water, human water that can be used by the human beings and animals, is very less. That means the river, the canals, the streams, the ponds, They're becoming less day by day, the lakes. So we have to be very careful about it. Water seems to be an unlimited resource, but shortage and drying up of natural water resources is a major problem in many parts of the world today. It is not only in India, in many parts of the world, the major natural resources of water are getting dried up. And that is a big problem to be tackled. That is a big problem to be tackled. Water, we say conservation of water and all this rain harvesting. We do the rain harvesting. We store water in dams. So all these things have been taken, steps have been taken to conserve water. So the amount of rainfall that happens in India, we should have never any sort of you know drought or anything, but we do not have the willingness. हमारी इच्छा शक्ति में कमी है, जिसके लिए ही हम वाटर शॉर्टेज, पानी की कमी, पानी की जो तंगाई है, इससे हम लोग जूझते रहते हैं. हमें पानी की किल्लत इसलिए होती है क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं उस तरह से किल्लत बने रहे. वी वांट, अगर हम चाहे कि कल हम अच्छे से अच्छे डैम्स क्यों बनाए, आप सिर्फ रेन हार्वेस्टिंग करो. हर एक जगह में, हर एक गांव में, हर एक शहर में, हर एक सोसाइटी में, हर एक जगह में बड़े बड़े टैंक्स लगा दो और बोलो कि यहाँ पर रेन हार्वेस्टिंग होना जरूरी है. यू हैव टू डू इट. और वो रेन वाटर जो कलेक्ट होगा उसको रिसाइकिल कर देना. उसको अगर बार बार रिसाइकिल करके थोड़ा सा ट्रीटमेंट करके रखोगे तो वो फ्रेश रहेगा. And after, when you have the summer season coming up, during that time you can use that water. So the dependency on the normal, that how much water is collected in the Tulsi Lake and the Valsa Lake, that will reduce. How much water is there in the Powai Lake, that will get reduced. You can divert that water towards irrigation and other things in Aurangabad and Latur district and other places where there is lots of problem for drought. Farmers are committing suicide. In Vidarbha, you can convert that water. I am telling this in case of state of Maharashtra, but it applies all across India. In fact, all across the world. That is how we can conserve water. Non-renewable resources are those which have a limited stock, very limited stock. You don't have much of them. That is why they're expensive also. Petrol, you're buying for 100 liters per liter today, 100 rupees per liter today. The reason is the price of petrols have increased over a period of time. As the shortage is increasing, the prices are going up. I remember during our college days, we used to have 20 bucks and we used to fill up the entire tank. But today we don't have those 20 bucks. You go to the petrol pump and give 20 bucks. With that hand pump, they will beat you up. That pump with which they give the petrol, they will beat you up with that pump. Because in 20 rupees, how much they will give? You need to at least fill up a 50 rupees. You have to give a 50 rupees note to get your tank filled up. So see, this thing is happening because the resources are becoming less. What it was 20 years back, what it was 25 years back, and what it is now, there's a hell and heaven difference. And what it will be after 20 years, what it will be after 30 years, huge difference will be there. So we have to be very wise towards using these non-renewable resources. Once the stocks are exhausted, it may take thousands of years to be renewed or replenished. Thousands of years. I disagree with the statement of the author here. Regarding fossil, 1,000 years is nothing. To get anything fossilized, a paleobotanist will always say, so I'm a botanist, so a botanist will always say It takes a billion year, 1 billion year, because the heat, pressure, the amount of load that you need, that is known as the surface load, is tremendous, and that take quite a billion years. 1,000 years, I do not agree. 1,000 years cannot replenish the petrol and coal. It will take billion years. So forget about getting petrol again. No generations, because another billion years the earth won't remain. It will be sucked up by the black hole. You know the black hole theory. So forget it. You won't have it. Since this period is much more than the human lifespan, such resources are considered non-renewable. Coal, petroleum, and natural gas are some examples. There are some examples. The coal in Asansol, in Ranchi, Dhanbad, Bokaro, then you have Sambalpur, Talcher. That area, the coal, and even in Karnataka, Kolar mines, you find, there is it's getting hollow day by day. It's getting hollow. If an earthquake takes place in these areas, it has become total hollow because people have extracted the coal and the underground entire thing has become hollow. It will be cause huge devastation in these areas, and that devastation we are waiting for. On the basis of their distribution, now on the basis of the distribution, one which is available everywhere and one which is available at a particular place, it is divided into two types. On the basis of the distribution, resources can be ubiquitous or localized. Resources that are found everywhere, like the air we breathe, are ubiquitous. The water that we have, it is ubiquitous. But those which are found in certain places are localized, like copper and iron ore. Now, if I say I want to find petroleum, I want to find petroleum in Madhya Pradesh. So people say you won't get it. No, I have to find petroleum. You won't get it because petroleum is localized in some places from where you get those petroleum in a particular country. So it is localized. If I say that I want gold, in my village, I'll dig up, and the people come around and me and say, "What are you finding?" I'm trying to find out gold. So they'll kick me out of the village and say that you have gone mad because there is no gold over here. You want to find gold, you have to go to a Karnataka, or you have to go to Australia or South Africa where you can find gold, or United States of America. You find gold over there. You don't find gold here in your village because that is localized. But for water, a glass of water, I can go to Finland, or I can go to Kenya. I can get a glass of water. It is ubiquitous. It is spread all across. I want to breathe. I can go to Everest, or I go to the forest of Kenya. I can breathe because oxygen is available everywhere. So that is ubiquitous. Is it clear? Things are clear with you, getting clear? That is more important for you to make the basics clear.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt
Yes.
till now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Absolutely.
Sir, can you just tell that what is the pronunciation of that ubiquitous? What it is?
Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means something that
Ubiquitous.
is present everywhere.
Okay, sir.
Who asked this question?
Sir, hi, Chetan.
Okay. Chetan, ubiquitous means the things that are present everywhere.
Okay, sir.
The distribution of natural resources depends upon the physical factors like terrain, climate, and altitude. Now, availability of natural resources depends upon lot many factors. What is the terrain? What is the climate? What is climate meaning? The moisture content, the temperature of a particular place. Now, the climate of Shimla is very different from the climate of, say, Pondicherry, or the climate of Pondicherry is very different from that of the climate of, say, Kathmandu. So, these are all, it depends. The resources, again, depends upon number of physical factors like terrain. What sort of land you have? Whether it's a plain or it's a plateau or it's a valley or it's a, hilly area, the terrain, the landform, the type of landform that you have, the climate, and the altitude. Altitude is above the sea level. At what altitude you are staying. So the natural resources depend on that. The distribution of resources is unequal because these factors differs so much over the earth. And what happens, the factor is so very different in different parts of the world. There's all this temperature, climate, terrain, and all this height from the sea level and all. That everywhere it is different. Now you take a simple thing, Mumbai and Pune, totally different, totally entirely different. In the month of December, you start from Mumbai, you wear a half shirt. By the time you land up in Mumbai, in Pune, you start wearing a pullover or a jacket because you feel the chill. It's a matter less than 200 kilometers within the same state. So that is there is a difference. Every place is different in this on this earth. Human-made resources, now man-made resources. What are the man-made resources? Sometimes natural substances become resources only when the original forms has been changed. Original form gets changed. I give you iron ore, piece of iron ore, and I say, okay, you please use it. You just throw it at me. And what it'll say me, what the nonsense you're giving. So I have to actually extract the iron from the iron ore, process it, and then give it to you. So definitely, I cannot use it in raw form. So iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. And that extraction of iron, people learned some 3,000 years back. Extraction of the iron era started. So that extraction, that metallurgy, it is known as metallurgy. Copper, before iron, the copper came. People extracted the copper and started using it. So people use natural resources to make buildings, bridges, roads, machineries, and vehicles, which are known as human-made resources or man-made resources. My God, who cried? Somebody is crying. Any problems from anywhere? Hope everything is fine. Technology is also a human-made resource. Our technology, whatever technology we are using, is also a human-made resource. This mobile phone, this online class, net-based class. I think myself and Gajanan sir, we were never aware of such facilities during our childhood days. We never dreamt of it also. that we will be conducting, having classes, but teacher, I shall never meet you ever in our entire life. You'll never meet Mr. Banerjee, but we met virtually. The reason is, whatever we are having today, that is a technology. This technology is also man-made. So, electrons, protons, neutrons, they're all man-made, all man-made discoveries. Though they are natural, but they are man-made discoveries. Shoika, did you have a very good rice and fish today? And you're feeling sleepy?
Yes, sir. Today rice
Ah,
and fish.
you're having lots of bhat and mach, and now you're feeling sleepy.
How do you know, sir?
Because of your yawning. A Bengali knows a Bengali very well, the habits. Okay, coming to the point, you know, so suppose I say that the technology had Newton not been there, Baba Newton had not taken birth in this earth, we wouldn't have got all these facilities what we are getting today, because law of gravitation, nobody would have thought of. Similarly, Einstein, Baba Einstein was not there. Then you wouldn't have this, E is equals to mc square to get the atom bombs and the atomic theories and the atomic things and the atomic power. The field of electronics has developed due to E is equals to mc square. So people like us use natural resources to make human-made resources, said Mona, nodding in understanding. Yes, said Raj. Now, human resources, very, very important. This resource is very important, and our country is the most important country, our country and China, in this particular resource. We can beat any other country. Population of 135 billion. 135 million people is the population, 135 crore. People can make the best use of nature to create more resources when they have the knowledge, skill, and technology to do so. When people master, who is going to use this resource? Who is going to extract the iron from the iron ore? Who is going to make that iron into iron rods? Who is going to make that building out of those iron rods? It is the human being, because of the skill, technology, and all their scientific ideas. That is why human beings are a special resource. The most important resource that counts is the human resource. And there is a subject in your MBA, when most of you will be doing your MBA in a few years from now. That is the human resource development, HRD. Human resource development. Every corporate, every company, they have a human resource department. And that human resource department takes interview and employs the particular person, give proper training, and they are responsible for seeing his progress and growth and how he or she succeeds in that company or in that particular department whatsoever. So people are human resources. Education and health help in maintaining people are valuable resource. Good education, good health is absolutely necessary, and we have understood it very nicely in a very hard way how much important health and education is, when during this corona time, this 2.5 years have taught us, 1.5 years has taught us how we should deal with education and health of the people, because health is a primary concern. Every government across the world has been spending billions of dollars, billions and billions, trillions and zillions of dollars in buying weapons. But no weapon in this atomic bomb can destroy coronavirus. Coronavirus can be destroyed by a vaccination. And that we did not have, we never thought of. We didn't have the production units, most of the country. We didn't have the beds, as hospital beds. We didn't have enough number of doctors. Wherever you see, we have engineers all around us. But that is not enough. We need doctors. We need more amount of medical colleges. So health and education, we need good education system, prevalent education system. We need good teachers. That is very important to develop the human skill set. Proper training, proper facility, proper education should be imparted. Unless proper education and thing is imparted, you cannot succeed. Education is not a mean by itself, as said by Swami Vivekananda. It is not an end by itself. It's a lifelong process. A person gets educated to the end of his life. Whatever you learn, whatever you do, now the 80-year-old man, he also learns to operate an Android mobile and send messages, very important messages, to save his life. That is an education. Improving the quality of people's skill so that they are able to create more resources is known as human resource development. So improving the quality of people's skills is most important to create the human resource development. You have a cartoon here. What the cartoon says? Crops ruined due to drought. Can I find a solution? This scientist is thinking. That's it, found out something. It's all the thanks to the knowledge and education skill, we could find a solution. So she goes to the farmers and says, you can do it. Humans are interdependent on each other. Farmers provide food grains for everyone. Scientists suggest various means to combat problems related to agriculture and improve farm production. Let me tell you a thing, an example. When India got independent, most of the population lived in rural areas. But the farm output, the agricultural output was very, very less. The reason was, the Britishers, they had looted India. They had discouraged all sorts of agricultural activities. The farmers became poor. The soil conditions were not suitable. There weren't proper irrigation facilities. There weren't proper seeds. There was not enough money to spend in agriculture. There was not enough money to give loans to the farmers. So this thing continued for several years. And our dependency on food crops was very high. We depended on countries like Canada, United States of America, Russia, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, all those countries in those days to give us supply as food crops like wheat. रोटी हमारी इंडिया के सबसे ज्यादा लोग जो है वो रोटी खाते हैं, चावल रोटी वो दोनों, बट रोटी for wheat. Now the type of wheat that was supplied to India by most of these countries were of such useless qualities that even the dogs and animals would not eat it, not even the cows. Infested with insects, half of them very bad, and you had to really, the amount of wheat you buy and the amount of wheat you really take for use was very less. The ratio was became very less. So the thinking into this, paid kisi ka bharta nahi tha, it became a very difficult thing. The nation was just like starving. That time, Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Prime Minister of India. It was around 1965, 66, I'm talking about. He consulted an agricultural scientist. His name was Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. And he told him that, I want some solution to this so that our country becomes self-dependent in the mode of, at least wheat and all these things. So he went to USA, and there was a Mexican scientist in USA. His name was Dr. Barlow. So he went and he had a discussion with him. He took some tons of, Sonora Majora crops, variety of wheat crops, Mexican wheat crops, and started planting it for experimentally in Punjab. And that ushered in the Green Revolution. The farmers were very happy, the tractors were used, joint cultivation, and the wheat revolution, the Green Revolution, ushered in within a very short span of time, say within 2 years. By 1967-68, we were almost self-reliant in these 2 years, and that was continued by Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, for quite some time. And Lal Bahadur Shastri had given a very famous slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. So, if you ask your grandparents, they'll be able to tell you much better than what I am able to tell, because they have seen those days, your grandfather and grandma. Because in those days, things changed in India, everything changed in India due to the farmers' revolution. So that is a human resource activity. I told you this story because that is a wonderful example of human resource activity. Are you all getting it? What I said?
Understood, sir.
Okay. Conserving resources. Now, resources that we have, that should be conserved. As I told you, water should be conserved. The fossil fuel should be conserved. Energy should be conserved. Electricity should be conserved. Everything has to be conserved. Mona had a nightmare. Now, what is a nightmare? Something, a bad dream. She dreamed that all the winter on the earth had dried, all the water on the had dried up, and all the trees had cut down. There was no shade, nothing to eat or drink. People were suffering and roaming around desperately, looking for food and shade. So she had a bad dream. I hope this entire family, Mona and this Amma family, are great environmentalists. They dream nothing but only about environment and resources. Anyways, so Mona had a very bad dream that, everything, it is all sukha sukha, there is no water, no pani, nothing, all the trees, everything has been, cut down, and the winter earth was scorched. And there's nothing to eat or drink, and people were suffering and desperately roaming around for food and shade. You have no shade, nothing. She told her mother about the dream. Amma, can this really happen? She asked. Yes, Amma replied. If we are not careful, then even renewable resources can become very scarce. रिन्यूएबल है, इसके लिए जैसे चाहे उसको यूज करते रहो, ये भी नहीं है. एवरीथिंग हैज अ लिमिटेशन. डोंट वेस्ट unless you don't use as much as you need. Don't waste. That is most important message. Yes, Amma replied, if we are not careful, then even renewable resources can become very scarce. Scarce means less. And the non-renewable ones can definitely get exhausted. They will get exhausted means finished. Khatam ho jayegi. It shall all be finished off. What can we do about it, Raju asked. Lots, replied Amma. What can be done if we are using it unwisely? We are opening the tap and brushing our teeth for 5 minutes. We are opening the tap and brushing, just shaving for 5 minutes. This is enough. That 5 minutes could provide water to 2 fields of wheat. So we have to be very careful about using the water. Using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resources conservation. Resource conservation is the time that is needed to get the resource renewed. You have to give them time to get renewed. Nothing is for free in this world. There is no free lunch, as the old saying goes. Yes, that's true. In South Africa, a few years back, there was a drought, and they just took two-minute shower, just to save the water. Balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for the future is called sustainable development. Very important. What is sustainable development? That might come in your exams. Sustainable development definition comes. What is sustainable development? It is balancing the need. We have to balance the need to use resources and conserve them for the future. You have the need, you balance it, and also use it wisely. Use it wisely so that you can conserve them for the future, or you don't use it up all like a foolish person. Then it is known as the sustainable development. To sustain, you have to sustain, keep on sustaining. When you have that resource, you have to take that resource, draw that resource, and use it from time to time. You cannot use it all at one go. There are many ways of conserving resources. Each person can contribute by reducing consumption. Each person can reduce the consumption. While brushing the teeth, you don't keep the tap open. While shaving, you don't keep the tap open. Of course, your age has not come to shave, gentlemen, but I'm just telling. While taking bath, don't keep the tap open and the water pouring on the bucket. Pour the water in the bucket, then you take the bath. Or if you're taking bath in shower, just use it wisely. So all these things, are going to help you. Japan is using tremendously, they are using so much of wisely they are using.
Even sir, while washing the car, we should use bucket and even while washing a car, we can use a bucket and mug.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of pipe.
Absolutely. You should be very careful. You should be very careful with your usage. Each person can contribute by reducing consumption, recycling and reusing. You can recycle the water. Ultimately, it makes a difference because all our lives are linked. So I conclude my class today here. We'll continue in the next class. We'll first of all finish up this chapter, discuss the question and answers, and I've already prepared the question and answers for you. We'll have a discussion, then we'll move to the next chapter. That is on the next Saturday. Okay. Stay safe, stay healthy. Goodbye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye,
Sir.
sir.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.